and I'm coming to you today on April 29th, 2020 from Farson, Wyoming. This presentation is for Dr. Clark at Western Wyoming Community College. Class is Natural Resources. My daughter Brianna Jacobson is running the camera, and I will be interviewing Aaron Draycott here, who works for the Sweetwater County Weed and Pest. Topic today is native plants of Wyoming. We are outside here in Farson, where you can see we have a lot of native plants. Okay, do a view of the native plants. Are you back?
Yep.
Here in particular, we have sagebrush and rabbit brush. Of course, we have lots of grass, cactus, and I'm not sure what all these little flowers are on the ground, but we have a lot of little, and I'm
Yellow alyssum.
yellow alyssum here. Out in this field particularly, we have lots of animals that live here as well because of the native plants. On a regular basis, we see gophers, ground squirrels, pronghorns, jackrabbits, cottontails, lizards, ants, butterflies, all kinds of birds, geese, sometimes it's eagles, crows, sometimes there's cranes out in the water. We don't have any water today, but and then on occasion I see foxes, skunks, badgers, raccoons, deer, and elk. The state of Wyoming has designated a lot of land as BLM or Forest Service, which is public land, and the people that live or visit here enjoy it for hiking, fishing, hunting, mountain biking, four-wheeling, and camping, just to name a few. Wyoming enjoys a nice tourism industry because of all of these public lands. What makes this possible? Native plants, which take care of our lands. What happens if our native plants are no longer here? Let's talk to Aaron Draycott about what he does to help keep our native plants healthy and strong. Okay, question number one. How are native plants important?
Well, I suppose that's a matter of opinion to lots of different people, but for me, native plants are important because they are what make Wyoming, Wyoming. And so when invasive species come into Wyoming and they start out competing our native plants, you lose that. And sometimes it takes decades, or maybe it will never return if you let the natives or the invasive species get a stronghold, and you end up fighting that battle for a long way out. So I would say that our native plants and flora and fauna that we have here are vital to making Wyoming what it is. That's why we live here.
Yes. Okay, number two. How do noxious and invasive species harm our native plants?
So invasive species in general don't belong here. That's why we call them invasive species. And they got here one way or the other. Some of them came over 100 years ago when people started settling in the land, and some of them, they're still in the process of coming.
Right.
They come on four-wheelers, they come in heavy equipment, they come in people's camper trailers that they've dragged through some other state and brought here, they come on boats, they come on all different kinds of things. But the fact that they don't belong here and they're not evolved to live here sometimes gives them an advantage over our native species. They'll have a very competitive nature of growth, and it can be in many different facets. It can be because they're really heavy seed producers, or it can be because they're deep perennial rhizomatous plants that just have the ability to outcompete the native plants. And they're here to stay, unfortunately, I think, but my job at the Weed and Pest is to battle them. We're always in a battle with them, trying to keep them at bay.
Right. Thank you. Now, what impact does this have on our community and state?
It has a huge impact. All 23 counties in the state of Wyoming have a district that controls just what I do. We all have a designated list of noxious species that's on the state level and on the county level. And that list is where we focus our efforts on. And it varies by county as to what's on their prepared list, but the state list is the designated list, and everybody in the whole state fights those weeds. And I can't speak for what the other budgets are in the county districts around the state, but our budgets, whole thing goes, on a cultural level, we battle noxious weeds as well. So I would say primarily herbicides, secondarily cultural, and third biological control. We have a few test plots around in our county using essentially some non-native bugs to fight the non-native plants that are here, and we've had some success with that.
Good, good. What kind of equipment does a weed and pest use to fight noxious and invasive weeds?
So as far as equipment goes, sprayers. We have a big field sprayer. We have all kinds of ATV sprayers. We have backpacks that we put on and go all over where we can't get with any other method. We even have a boat that will fight weeds over on Seed Skiddy or down the Flaming Gorge. We're all over the county, and I would say that's mainly the equipment we use. As far as pests go, I guess I should say ground squirrels and pocket gophers are also on our list, and so we do have some specialized equipment. We're doing a burrow builder that basically puts bait underground pocket gophers, and then we also bait ground squirrels.
Now, I was reading that little article recently on the internet. Dan Madsen had, his name was on it, and it was some sort of tracker. What do you guys use is like a GPS, everywhere you go, I can't remember what it was called, put in the locations where you
Yes,
sprayed. What is that?
every herbicide or bait that we put out, no matter where we're at, what we're doing, whether it be through the agricultural sprayer, whether it be through a backpack, whether it be through the boat, or our ATV or side-by-sides, everything is documented on
Right.
GPS.
And you have a neat little technology device, 'cause whatever it was relatively new within the last few years.
Yes, we use a product called Map It Fast, and they're a company out of Sheridan called Agterra,
Maybe that's
and-
what I read.
and we've used them for the last couple of years, and we've had great success. And we use it, I mean, it has many benefits to us. For one, it allows us to track weeds from year to year in the same given spot. We know whether or not the population of weeds is expanding, whether it's getting smaller. We can map out new infestations. Like right now, I can map out this pepperweed just with my phone in my pocket. And it'll be on our mainframe, and we know that it's here. And
Now, this pepperweed is a invasive species, right?
Yep.
So
Perennial
come on
pepperweed.
over here.
Or-
It's not green yet, but it's stemmy. So
Or giant white top, it's called.
Uh,
Lepidium latifolium is the scientific name.
So these are some of the weeds that they're fighting that are not native plants.
It's actually from Europe and Asia, perennial pepperweed is. And I don't know how long it's been here, but I know that it's been here a long time because we've looked through the records as far as our weed and pest is concerned, and they've been battling it since the 40s here.
Wow.
And it was on an immense scale when they started battling it.
Really? So it's really, you guys have done a good job making it go down then.
Yes, it's never going to be gone, but we're always just chasing little spots like
Keeping it
this.
in control.
Yep.
Good. Okay, next question. How much does it cost to fight noxious and invasive weeds per acre?
So that's kind of a tricky question because it really depends on the noxious weed that you're trying to fight
Right.
and the method that you're using to try and fight it. We have kind of a general noxious weed mix that we'll put in the tank when we're going out for, you know, the basic top 3 or 4 that we're fighting in our county. Perennial pepperweed is one of them. Russian knapweed is another one. Canada thistle is another one. I would say those are probably our top 3 that we're always battling with. And so we have just a general tank mix that will kill all of those, and we're on to the next patch. And it doesn't matter what one we come upon next, we have something in our tank that'll kill that. But the pepperweed itself, the main herbicide that we use for that is Escort, and it's a cheap herbicide. We can treat perennial pepperweed with Escort for less than $3 an acre, and we usually add a 2,4-D product into that, and so it bumps your price up. But I mean, we're under $10 an acre to treat those noxious weeds.
Right. Oh, good.
So,
Okay. What does it cost the community, you know, as far as farmers, businesses, you know, the tourism industry each year, both quantitatively and you know, enjoyment-wise and price-wise, what's the cost, or in your
Well,
opinion?
I would say, as far as the cost is concerned, I would speak for our budget in Sweetwater County. We know what it costs us
Right.
to battle them. I would say that if we didn't battle them, we really have no way of knowing right now what the cost would be qualitatively, because we've been battling them for so long
Right.
and keeping them in check, that if we hadn't started in the 40s trying to take care of these
Right.
problems, our ecosystem wouldn't look nothing like it does today.
Right.
It would be overrun. It would already be overrun. When I bought my house up here in the valley in 2005, I had perennial pepperweed on my place, as
Right.
most places around here do. And I had probably 8 acres of it that was a monoculture of perennial pepperweed. And a monoculture is, that's all that's there. That's the only species left growing, because it's been left unchecked for a period of years to the point where it's outcompeted everything in the understory. There's nothing left. And once I sprayed it and I got rid of it,
Right.
there was nothing left there but dirt. And so then you start the whole process of succession from the beginning. And when you do that, you have bare ground, and the first thing that comes is a bunch of annual weeds, and nobody wants to see the annual weeds either.
Right.
So by letting an ecosystem get to this point where it's a monoculture, you've taken back the successional clock years and years and years, decades, that you have to earn that back. And so I would say the cost is high. The cost is very high for us to pay attention to these and to keep up with them. But it's a cost worth paying.
Yes.
Because if we hadn't have started it, like I said, 70 or 80 years ago, it would look nothing like it does today.
Yeah. Everything would be different. Okay. Thank you. Next question. On that same line, kind of, how long does it take for the native plants to come back? I mean, you kind of already touched on that, after you fought the invasive species.
Yeah.
How long does it take?
It really depends on how far along you've let an invasive species or a weed invade a place. Like right now here in this little spot right here, you've got quite a bit of pepperweed growing in there, and that rhizome root structure is deep and it's in there, and this will keep coming back even if we spray it. You'll have to spray this every 5 to 7 years until
It's
you
gone.
starve out the root structure. But you have a lot of grass in the understory. So I would say that once you got rid of this, sprayed after the first year, you've really not lost a lot, because the grass is still there.
Right.
It's going to come back, and when you spray this pepperweed, it's going to release the grass, and it's just going to come again because it's not competing with that pepperweed.
Well,
But
that's good.
it really depends on how far you've let things go before you actually start treating it. I've seen places south of Rock Springs where the Russian knapweed is in a monoculture. I mean, it'll be in an area like this for 100 yards, 200 yards,
Right.
nothing but a monoculture. And when you spray that out, the first thing that comes in is Russian thistle, which is tumbleweeds, kochia, things that aren't great. I mean, they're important because they start the succession process, but before the grass will start to move in, it takes a long time. And we can help that along by seeding. You can interseed native species and try and propagate them and get them to come, but that can be a long haul, trying to get those native species to
Right.
come back.
Right. Well, things like sagebrush, which are native, they must take a long time to come back. Because
You know-
these roads that are here,
Yeah,
or like the trails, the
Oregon Trail and Lincoln
Trail.
Highway.
yeah,
where that's at, no one's traveled that forever, and well, not forever, but for a long time, and there's no sagebrush growing on it yet. Hardly.
that's true. That is true.
So, how long does it take for the sagebrush to come back?
You
Which
know,
are
it's
pretty.
one might think that
important.
sagebrush takes a really long time to come back, and if it's left all to its own and it's got a place to come back, it's not competing with other plants, it actually does pretty well.
Oh yeah.
I've seen some places like on mine reclamation where they've started with a till pile that is just a giant pile of topsoil that doesn't have anything growing with it, and 30 or 40 years.
Well, that's
It
faster
looks
than
just
I
like
thought,
this
because,
does
I
now.
always think of these dirt roads that you see on the BLM all over the place, and once those dirt roads are there, it just seems like they could last there forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
People don't necessarily drive on them a lot. Some of them they do a lot, and others not, and they
Yeah.
just seem to
The
stay.
thing about sagebrush is it doesn't like disturbance at all. So, I mean, if you run over a bush, it'll kill it, and it
Right.
takes it a long time. So if you've got an old 2-track or something like this, even if it only gets traveled once every 2 or 3 years by
That's all
one
it
vehicle, those tracks will stay open because sagebrush just
amazing.
can't get squashed
Right.
like that and come back.
Right. All right. So do you feel we're winning the battle against noxious and invasive weeds?
Well, that's kind of a trick question, I guess.
Well, you've kind of touched on it already. You know, you said if we hadn't started it 40 years ago, it wouldn't be what it is today. So I feel like we're winning on at least part of the spectrum.
Yes, I would say selectively I think we're winning. I think on certain species, yes, we're probably keeping them in check. I don't know if when you talk about winning, I suppose the ultimate goal is eradication. We'd love to eradicate pepperweed
Right.
from Sweetwater County and the state, but it's just not reality. I don't think we'll ever get it eradicated. But as long as we can keep ahead of it, I would say yes, we're winning.
Yes.
Other species, a big one right now is cheatgrass. I'm sure you've heard all the buzz about cheatgrass. That is one where, depending on who you talk to around the state, we're losing that battle. And there's several other invasive annual grasses, Ventonata and Medusa head rye, that are probably actually worse than cheatgrass. And they've got a stronghold in the northeastern part of the state. And the bad thing about them is that they are complete ecosystem changers. So they interrupt the natural ecosystem by the utilization of fire. And so once they take over, they dry down really fast early in the summer, and they create a huge fuel load. And then all it takes is a lightning strike, and fire will move across the landscape very quickly. And they don't suffer the consequences of the fire like our native forbs do and native grasses do. And so it stimulates them to reproduce even more, and you get another big flush. So cheatgrass, the annual grasses, I would say, are the scariest threat to Wyoming's ecosystem we have right now. And a lot of research is going into the battle on trying to figure out how to fight them. So to answer your question, or to conclude, I would say that selectively, I would say yes, we are winning the battle. And on some fronts, we're just beginning the battle.
Right.
So it's hard
Right.
to say.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any other comments?
I don't think so. I guess I would just say be conscious of what you're transporting around in the state. Be careful of what you're bringing in, and take the necessary steps to prevent more noxious weed infestations.
Well, I thank you very much for your time. It's been very informational. Here in Wyoming, the people that live and visit here enjoy the outdoors because of our native plants. People make a living here and enjoy nature because of the land, which stays healthy when we have healthy native plants. It takes time and expense, as you have found out, to bring our native plants back, so we need to care for them today and keep noxious and invasive species in check by doing our part. Thank you. That concludes my documentary.